Hey guys, I'm not reading a file on this one, but I've been reading these files every day since the DOJ released their super shitty website for us to search keywords for these Epstein files. And it's a lot of really, really dark information to process. And I was just talking to my friend about it and thought I would make a video because if you are someone who is either watching the videos of people reading the files or reading the files yourselves, it's a lot. So make sure to take care of your mental health, whatever that looks like. For me, I like to balance all of that dark out with spending time with my family, simulating murder on my friends at jiu-jitsu, and getting outside in nature, touch some grass, put your phones down for a little bit, then pick them back up and keep reading the files, because if we let it die, then they get away with it. So take care of yourselves, take care of your mental health, but don't stop either. This is day 10 reading the Epstein files out loud. This is an FBI intake document, and it has a victim statement. Redacted was recently interviewed by an FBI agent. However, he felt triggered as a victim and did not record all of the information. Redacted has recordings of Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell discussing marketing strategies for high-profile sex parties at the Donald Trump golf course. However, Redacted mailed the recordings to a lawyer in the Cayman Islands. Redacted was a part of the Sinaloa cartel and worked closely with Epstein and Maxwell. However, he was able to walk away from the cartel due to his status with Epstein and Maxwell. In the recordings, Trump stated he was aware of the underage sex parties and charged the house money of the golf course to fund said parties. Victim witnessed Robin Leach strangle a young girl during a sex party. He claims she is buried behind the 19th hole at the Donald Trump golf course. Victim is aware of 3 separate occasions in which girls were murdered and buried there. Redacted was told if he spoke about the incident that he witnessed, he would end up in the hole as well. Redacted gave Maxwell the idea to put cameras in at the golf course to review the cartel members and understand how to market the 12 to 14-year-old victims to the cartel. Day 10, reading Epstein files out loud until these sick bastards are in prison or thrown into a wood chipper. This is an email. It says, "Thanks for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty." From Redacted, obviously. Day 10 of reading the Epstein files, I'm going to read an email from a victim. In 2019, there was a meeting at Redacted where now deceased Redacted discussed there being many pictures of me with Jeffrey Epstein, video, and also terrible pictures of me being abused as a child. I want the evidence that was collected regarding that I was abused. How the people at my work became privy to this information while I was not contacted appropriately as a victim should be investigated. The gross violation of my privacy, suppression of evidence, and failure to support a victim should be investigated. Where there has been drugging, gaslighting, profound psychological abuse, and in addition to physical and sexual abuse, sharing the evidence with the victim in a respectful and private way should be a part of their right for healing and to be compensated. It was brought up in the meeting that I was painted in a picture from a bikini contest long ago. The man who took the picture that the painting is related to a photographer for National Geographic between 1975 and 85. I was born in Redacted. I believe we were taken to Redacted to be displayed. We were abused in a hotel room after a contest. Being in a meeting at Redacted where I worked and called Slimy Lolita, violated in front of coworkers and peers, is abuse. I don't know how they got their information on trauma I was and haven't thought of in years. This event made it difficult for me to think or speak about anything. I remember things about the helicopter picture. Redacted knew I was there. Redacted brought up Andrew Cuomo, and I believe she knew his family. She first accused me of being his girlfriend and then said he was one of my abusers. I believe this is in part why I'm having trouble getting help. They knew I was playing Jennifer Syme. I remember being on a set playing her, being drugged and waking up confused. They brought up in the meeting that I was abused on the set of Redacted. I was used and told that it was me in the film, and then I asked why I wasn't in the credits. I was told I had to be schizophrenic, like a role, but I had to be that in real life to people. That was how they covered up what they did. Donald Trump was complicit in abusing me to extort money from my grandfather, and my grandfather engaged in similar activities. This is probably the biggest reason I had trouble getting any help. I remember being a young kid, drugged and raped in Redacted as a child with 2 men passing between them like a ball. Then my grandfather collected me and had me pose with a llama. Notice the rawness on my face and the druggy look in my eyes. When my teeth were knocked out at Redacted, it was called a blowhole. I remember my Redacted and grandfather discussing first that Epstein would be upset and then laughing that it would be a blowhole. Julius Epstein came to my house for a date when I was 10. Ghislaine was transporting him. I had trauma from the threats and drugs and straight up trauma. As I said, I was very sick. I couldn't remember barely anything sometimes. It was PTSD. I told the doctor at Redacted I felt trapped in my family and that was invested in me being mentally ill. I had memories of Ghislaine with Jeffrey saying I belonged to them dancing with her. I told the doctor her name and that I was asking for her help. Somehow I was taken to them and given an outfit to wear, and I did meet the prince, but I didn't agree that I was a whore like the prince thought I was. I told him so, and Ghislaine told me to give back the clothes. Recovering from trauma that is basically the royalty of the country Recovering from trauma that basically the royalty of the country wants to conceal is very difficult. And while repeated trauma, it's a lot to recover from. It doesn't operate on a timeline. I want to know how this group of people knew I was abused by wealthy media people and politicians and how they didn't help me the way that they should have. I want the evidence that they had to support myself. This is file EFTA 01250276. This is day 11 reading the Epstein files out loud until some of these sick bastards are behind bars or worse. This is an email thread from Redacted to Epstein. Redacted said she felt God's presence next to her when she was in bed. She knows that Jesus watches over her and he helped save her life. Whoops. You should dress up as him when you see her. Epstein wrote back to Redacted, of course, the "Oh Jesus, I'm coming" trick. These people are disgusting. This is day 12 reading the Epstein files until these sick fuckers are behind bars. This is a survivor statement to the FBI. In approximately 1994, long redacted sentence revealed herself to Redact, a past victim of sex abuse by Epstein. Redacted described the abuse occurred during parties. Redacted further identified Redacted as a friend of Redacted. In approximately 96, Redacted resided with Redacted in Redacted. An unknown man abducted Redacted from her home when she later woke up in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, in parentheses Jay-Z. While Weinstein had inserted his fingers into Redacted, Redacted believed that she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. Redacted estimated she was abducted on 7 occasions, awaking each time in an opulent indoor setting. Redacted suffered from sex abuse on multiple of these occasions in which Epstein participated. Redacted recalled Leon Black and William Barr, current U.S. Attorney General, being present during some of the occasions of abuse. In approximately 2006, Redacted last recalled being abused by Epstein. On each occasion, Redacted believed she was drugged, clouding her memory. Redacted attributed the drugging as frequently performed by persons assigned as handlers, whom she described as persons who established friendships with the victims. Among her handlers, Redacted identified the artist Pusha T. In approximately 2007, Redacted attended a party, Redacted, following an invitation from an unknown man who approached her as she walked down the street. Weinstein and Pusha T also attended the party and drugged her before engaging in sexual abuse. Redacted claimed to have additional information of persons involved in the enterprise and information relating to the racketeering conducted on the support of trafficking. Redacted further believed that she was under surveillance and stalked in the direction of the people involved in the sex abuse. She confirmed she was not diagnosed with any mental illness. Redacted refused to provide her physical address, advising that she maintained no permanent address. Rather, she moved between staying at different hotels. This is EFTA 01249-587. Hey guys, day 12 reading the Epstein files. This is an email to Jeffrey Epstein from Redacted on June 30th, 2014. I think it's pretty crazy that they can redact the sender on this email. I give you permission to kill him. He is apparently with Redacted. He lied to you and he lied to me. Again, this is to Jeffrey Epstein from Redacted. I don't see how this could have anything to do with protecting victims with this redaction.